Good morning, everyone. You are welcome to Press Brief of Tuesday, the 23rd of January 2024. On this program, the People's Always Come First. We'll be back to give you what they are saying after this. Hello there, if you are joining us, you are on to Press Brief. On this program, the papers always come first. Representation, I am attending Larry Kevin Tabot. We start off with the first paper for today. Municipal update of Victor Cham for this morning says GBHS Itukibe uproar condemnable. That is what you can find on Municipal Update newspaper for today. You can read that detailedly on page 3. In that said paper, Victor, the paper reports Northwest Muslim community unveils vision for autonomy development. You can read that story from the Northwest region. Still on that said paper, observatory on climate change projects worst dry season in 45 years, according to that organization. Or the outlets are set reports to us via municipal update for today. Emergence for this morning report on Yaoundé says what actually happened at Government Bilingual High School Itukibi in Yaoundé. You can find that story on that said paper for today. Energy sector in new confirms the return of power outages across the nation. You want to find that story still on that paper. On still hoping for a miracle. You can find that story too on that said paper for today. Le Parcours for this morning talks of the control of roads networks in Cameroon. It says gangsters now show their face at Douala. You can find that story too on that paper for today. Loju for this morning says what actually happened at GBHS Itukibe. That is what Haman Mana have for us as lead story on page 3. AFCON 2023 in Ivory Coast victory, imperative victory for Cameroon is highly in anticipation for today. That is how that paper have that for this morning. The Alassane Ouattara Stadium will be the center of attraction this night. You can find that story too on that paper of AFCON 2023 in Cote d'Ivoire. We move over to the next publication. Eden from Limbe says at AGM in Limbe, Eden Media Group family takes stock, charts way forward. So you can find that story on the paper of late Chief Zak Zangadembo for today. Northwest Regional Assembly, University of Bamenda signed historic MOU. The CBC Health Services Director explains sharp decline in HIV and AIDS infections rates across Cameroon. And Limbe's citizen educationist Kembong Matthias dies. And wrap up with this one from promoting democracy. Over 3,000 youth encouraged so embrace citizen action in Cameroon. We move away from Eden. We take you to the son of Nobed Waso report on appointment and transfers of senior divisional officers of Cameroon. It says tribal exit FACO after barely 18 months as senior divisional officer of FACO. Honorable Atinda is regent traditional ruler of Mbo Bakundung in Konye in Mehmet region. Launching of state budget in Southwest region. Minister envoy sharp on respect of procedures. And Camtel general manager strive stakeholders on parts of better preservation of Cameroon's digital infrastructure. You can find that story too on the son of Nobed Waso for today. Over to Yaoundé with the guidance post of Christian Guys talks of inauguration of institution in Melen Yaoundé Office Center region. Governor says Intericon Credit Union nation's pride. And you can find that story on that set paper for today. Yaoundé still over 100 students injured in GBHS Itukibe stampede. That is what the paper reports for this morning. Editorial: when hungry Cameroonians smuggle rice to feed neighbors. You can find that story too on the Guardian Post for today. The Herald Tribune newspaper paper, the paper of Richard De Lanjong, report on Central Governor inaugurates Darikon Credit Public Service and Administrative Reform known as MINFOPRA, committed to inclusive digital public service, and Mezam Division of the Northwest Region, Bamenda One Council comes last in execution of public investment budget. That's memorandum of understanding. We take you to this other paper. And for our show for this morning talks of Ivory Coast 0, Equatorial Guinea 4. The paper reports on the 0 codes for Cote d'Ivoire. We move over to talk something else. So it's this other story that talks of after the victory of Equatorial Guinea over Ivory Coast. The paper reports on that it has been declared today public holiday in the entire nation of Equatorial Guinea as a public holiday after their resounding victory over the Elephants of Ivory Coast as the Zalang National of Equatorial Guinea shined last night. We move over to L'Action. The CPDM publication for today says secular partitions tax. You can find that story as the Secretary General of the CPDM party, that is Jean Kwete, who signed a circular to relate to the revision of the electoral register as elections management body Elecam opens register on January 4, 2024. In that set, L'Action newspaper for today, the paper report on telecommunication. Camtel seeks to protect digital infrastructure, and somewhere else the company in charge of low-cost housing known as SIC, it talks of the ambition of results of the SIC company in Cameroon. The Guardian for this morning, the paper from the UK, reports on medics urge not to report illegal abortion to police, and the paper reports on families of hostages in Gaza storm Knesset. That is the parliament for Israel. And we move over to Roadhawks. It says modern cars getting too big for our streets, expert warns. We take you now to the other publication for today, that is the Guardian. The Guardian reports on though not the Guardian, we take you to something else this time around with Daily Mail. Daily Mail says Starmer waders into culture wars on the site of the work. Get rid of story on the side paper. Who's raising eyebrows at Paris Couture Week? That is a question you can find on that side paper. We come back home with La Voix du Jeune. La Voix du Jeune for today reports on the AFCON 2023 in Ivory Coast. It says we can still do it. That is Rigobert's song, who was quoted to do that pronouncement in a press conference in Ivory Coast on their last match for today, if at all they will make it to the second round or not. We move over to the Punch. The Punch from Nigeria says kidnapping epidemic, worst abduction in Abuja, others not reported, victims' families. Get to read that story on that said paper. CDC destroy 4 rivers illegal refineries in the river state of South Nigeria. Reducing cabinet will affect performance, Tinubu insists. Central Bank of Nigeria may raise bank capital base to the tune of 900 billion naira, according to official reports from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The richest black man in the world, Aliko Dangote, the Dangote cement hits the sum of 10 trillion naira capitalization. You can get to read more on that on page 25 on the Punch newspaper for this morning. The Nation for today talks of federal government explains how students will access loan. That is what the Nation tells us for today. Dangote reclaims Africa's top spot in Forbes 2024 billionaires list. You can read that story on that said paper. We take you now to the sports paper of Punch Sports Extra. The paper talks of Guinea-Bissau 0, Nigeria 1, Moses Pat, Red Sea. You can find more on that paper for today. Gunners would make Zhang signing, and in that said paper, Adesina eyes Olympic glory. We move over to talk something else on that said paper. Dennis sets for Watford return. You can find more on that sports paper of Punch Sports Extra for today. We'll wrap up the program with the last publication on our newsstands with the satiric newspaper for today, Le Populi. Le Populi comes back to the Lycée Bileng Etukibe incident. That's the GBHS Etukibe incident. It titles that as a movie. You can find more on that said paper of Le Populi, the satiric newspaper for today. With Le Populi viewers, this is what put a stop on the first part of the program. But from Muscle, we'll be back with a reviewer for today. Reserved for our review. Our reviewer for this morning is Joseph Appiah. Good morning to you, Joseph, and you're welcome.
Good morning, Larry, and good morning to our viewers out there.
Okay, we kickstart the program with the first paper on our disposal. That is municipal updates for this day. Municipal updates of Victor Cham for this day says GBHS Etukibe uproar condemnable. That is what you can read on that said paper. What do you make of this caption of GBHS Etukibe uproar of yesterday morning?
I think yesterday was a very sad day for those in Douala, especially in those in the academic milieu
in Yaoundé.
Because it's actually bad to see students, at least only been fighting for the past few years, everything to ensure that there's security in schools. And when we see students going up against the administration, we are left to wonder and ask ourselves question: what else must we need to do? Is the security not tight enough? And I think the government actually needs to do more, because if it's happening in Yaoundé, it can happen anywhere. So I think the government must step up security in schools out in Yaoundé.
But we saw how those little ones actually went on rampage, destroying cars, destroying school properties and others, and we saw how some persons not in uniform actually accompanied them. So does this actually give, and we equally saw them throwing stone at the forces of law and order who came there to make sure the students of GBHS Etukibe, or today's students of schools across the nation?
Because ask the question, what were the onlookers doing during a particular scene? Most of them were just taking videos and chanting the student to continue. And I think that's where morality in these acts, and they're cheering them up one way or the other, and then that's bad for the Cameroon image. Because yesterday the principal came out and said her own version of a story, but those who were onlooking the event did nothing. So I think that they had a part to play in this, which to me is very bad for the Cameroon school milieu.
Okay, just like a Central Governor Nasiri Paul Biya stipulated yesterday that parents have the responsibility in taking care of their children by disciplining them, as he said. These students, it shows that their parents have failed woefully when it comes to discipline of the said students.
I think he was right on that, because for you to be disciplined, it starts at home.
Sure. And
if your home is bad, then obviously when you go out there, you do exact what you have been trained. So I think the fact that their parents are so lax in their upbringing to an extent, and then the friends which they have met, peer pressure, and when there's unity in disagreement, the people are always going to forge ahead. Because I believe these students had an agreement to do what they did yesterday, and it's due to their various upbringings. So I think parents, is a call and a wake-up call for them to be able to instill the African value of respect, of honesty, of you accepting that you are wrong, because no matter, accept the mistake and continue and say, okay, we'll see the punishment. But going against the authorities of the school and throwing stones and destroying the principal's car, I think they went too far yesterday.
All right, we move away from the saga at GBHS Etukibe in Yaoundé to another story. We are talking on climate change for today, still with municipal updates. For this morning, it says Observatory on Climate Change projects worst dry season in 45 years. They are talking on this dry season as many towns and cities in the nation are facing a lot of heat across their various localities.
Yeah, look at Boya today. In 10 years ago is different. It's very hot, and at times you are forced to sleep in maybe naked or just with your inner ways. It is very hot, be it the day or in the night. So I think that the climate change prophecy which the observers have given is a reality, because the sun is becoming hotter and hotter every day. Now the big question is, what can we do? because when the heat is becoming too much, I bet you water bodies will dry off, and that will take into another crisis. So I think in the course of this vision, there should be a way out for the population to have something to live on in the coming years.
Okay, we move over to Premier Zé for today. It comes back to the Martinez Zogo affair, as last week clock exactly 1 year after his body was found in Ebogo village along the Swai-Yaoundé highway. The paper titles that Martinez Zogo affair, the prophet of lies tellings. You have there some media outlets, you have Equinox television, you have Kalara newspaper, you have La Nouvelle newspaper, and you have the journalism of Frontline Association based in Paris, known as Reporters Without Borders.
Well, Larry, is still a painful issue that pressmen still can speak as one and act as one. Martinez Zogo's image on the scene may rest in peace. No, I think it's time for pressmen to actually step up the game and ask questions, because who knows, it could be someone else tomorrow. So I think they need to ask questions to the government for justice to be given, because it is said justice is denied. So they must ask the government questions. Why is there no verdict on this case so far? What is the way forward? Because if it is not being given, then tomorrow it may happen again, and the same thing may still be done as it was to Zogo. Okay,
let's focus more on this for these three media outlets in Cameroon. You have Equinox television, Kalara, and La Nouvelle newspaper. Not forgetting the foreign-based committee to protect journalists, known in French as Reporters Sans Frontières, or Journalists Without Borders in Paris. So the paper says these four are the big prophets of lies telling when it comes to the Martinez Zogo affair. How true is that?
Well, Larry, I want to leave the event, because when this whole saga happened, they were cheering it up, like they wanted to find the truth of it. But how long did they go with it? It was a period of time, and the case died out. So I think that the consistency is what keeps something relevant, and there they failed. So if they are being terminalized, it's because they give the people hope. Because remember, they have the food estate, so people believe that okay, we have media organs that we can look up to, and they will bring us a reality. But it was a charade, because we never saw it being continued. And I think if they're being terminalized today, they have themselves to blame. Because
thanks for that explanation. We crossed over to M4 Show for today. M4 Show reports on the AFCON 2023 in Ivory Coast. It says Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast 0, Guinea, Equatorial Guinea 4-0 quote. That is what you can find on for I showed newspaper, how the Zalang National of Equatorial Guinea actually shined yesterday in the Ivory Coast as they helped the host nation. The
tip of what African football is all about. Who would have thought the thunder will strike the elephant and the elephant will fall without standing again? 4 goals to 0. I bet you no one saw it coming. I'm a sport analyst, I never saw that coming. I knew it would be a both team score affair. But I was shocked yesterday, and even Jogba was in the field yesterday, could not believe his eyes. And that's to show you that African football is fast evolving, and that's to show you that there are no longer small teams in Africa, because they have shown us that they can bite, and they bite very hard. And you saw what happened to the other matches, talking about Egypt, Ghana, and the rest. So I think yesterday, and you saw what the fans could do after the match, destroying cars and other things. No one saw it coming. No one could even have the prophecy of it coming. So I think African football and African giants should learn from this. That the AFCON this year is not
AFCON in Ivory Coast this time around with a copy of La Voix du Jeune. La Voix du Jeune for today says it is still possible. That is the coach of Cameroon, Rigobert Song, who made this pronouncement in the press conference. But in a scenario like this, where many Cameroonians and football lovers are castigating the nonchalant attitude or lack of capability of the said head coach of Cameroon, Rigobert Song, of his inability to actually produce good results, as we see statistics of his stay as head coach of Cameroon. Is this something that should actually make Cameroonian buy what Rigobert Song is saying on La Voix du Jeune newspaper for today, or should we just be expecting them to go do their normal performance, as we will see, as many are procrastinating that the Gambia is going to hold Cameroon well beaten tonight?
Well, I think Rigobert Song, because it's not that good, 8 draws, 8 defeats, and 5 wins. I think it's not the best. But now, what can we say today? Gambia were won them 3 times in the last times that we have met. Coach Hugo Besson has a vision of going out of the group stages and up to the next round. At first, it was a if, and now the gap is open for them. Can they win today? I think they have learned from their mistakes. 2 matches, a draw and a defeat. So this is a match which they must win. Coach Hugo Besson must put his critics wrong, because everyone is saying he's not qualified, he's not up to standard. But I think if he's able to prove Cameroonians wrong today, then Cameroon will be happy with him, because going over to the next stage, we'll expect more from him and the team.
Let's focus more on the Gambia, the small West African nation who actually changed her name during the last African Cup of Nations that took place in Cameroon, as they went up to high heights that many were not even expecting. But and the Gambia right now, she is having 0 points, and this set nation says she does not want to go out of Ivory Coast without a point. So shouldn't we many say the Gambia will say today, I'm going to beat you to have my 3 points, so that I won't finish bottom of my group. Instead, you're going to finish bottom of the group.
Tom Senfeld said yesterday, if Cameroon has to leave this can, it also will do it. That statement alone speaks a lot of volume.
That's the head coach of the Gambia.
The head coach. I understand that the last time Cameroon met, the Cameroon scored the 2 goals, and the match today has all the stakes. Like you said, they have 0 points, and I bet you yesterday there was something which Cameroon needs to learn. Mozambique was already on her way out of the AFCON, and she had to go alongside with Ghana, put a 2-2 tie. So I see something to an extent if Gomezon does not play his cards very well, because I see this Gambia, they'll say, if I'm going down with you.
Yes.
Cameroon must give in their very best today if they don't want to follow what Ghana did yesterday, and it all depends on the coach and the players today.
But with a kind of funny play style that we see on the pitch of football with the Cameroonian squad, shouldn't we just expect the normals? People should just go and do their thing and come back quietly.
Like, football is Cameroon, and Cameroon is football. We believe in ourselves even at the dying bed. And now we have the opportunity to prove our critics wrong. With 4 points, we can qualify to the next round. But I believe the team still has the momentum. What kills them is the fighting spirit. It's no more there. And someone like Boubacar Ben Sam, who gave them that in 2021, is not there to give them a fighting spirit. And I think someone to step up the game and say, guys, we need to do this for our country. Write our own names upon the book of time with our own ink. Which ink will we use? So I think it all depends on the players today. Can they create history? Can they pick up that 3 points today? It's possible, because we're Cameroon, and Cameroon can do it.
Okay, still we remain in the world of football with the copy of the Punch Sports Extra. Punch Sports Extra for today says Guinea-Bissau 0, Nigeria 1. Moses parts the Red Sea, making reference to the Nigerian striker Moses yesterday, who actually made the Super Eagles sail through the second phase of the African Cup of Nations. But the paper is frowning on the poor performance of the current best African player, that is Victor Osimhen, the Napoli Wonder Boy, whose performance of yesterday was actually below standards.
Now I understand this is what I mean by African football. The very best are not there. For example, there's no Salah, there's no Boubacar Ben Sam, Maris is not in his best form, and Osimhen. Show that this African football, you never can tell. The top goal scorer so far is a defender, a right back. To show you that African football is fast evolving, and it's not more European football where you're a top goal scorer in your league. Can you replicate that in your own country and at the AFCON, where you have smaller nations trying to create history for themselves? So this is to show you that yes, it's true, it's not the best for them. Nigeria, they have scored 3 goals, a penalty, a tap in, and an own goal, and they have 7 points. Kudos to them, but there's still much work which needs to be done. Osimhen needs to step up his game, because this is the AFCON and not the Serie A. Okay,
we cross over to next door British Premier League with Arsenal. It says Gunners won't take Zhang signing. That is what you can beat on page 25 on the Punch Sports Extra newspaper, talking on Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal, actually many people have called them the elephant on the the tree, because they always taste, they see the promised land, but they can't enter. And can this year beat theirs? I still wonder, with the likes of Liverpool and also Man City stepping up the game. I think Arsenal needs more of experienced players in the league for them to be able to see how they can actually step up the chances of why not winning the Premier League this season, if I thought that's their vision for the season.
Okay, we take you to, we remain with the English Premier League this time around with English Premier League clubs chase Sané. This is a shining footballer who is making good strides across the world of sports. So the English Premier League clubs are after Sané for his signing over to England.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him, playing there with Bayern Munich. He's scoring goals, giving assists, and he has been there before with Manchester City. So coming back to the Premier League, I think will be a continuation of what he started. And if a club wants him, I think they have seen what he's capable of doing, his speed, his pace, and his passes, and his goals. That's what the Premier League is meant for: fast football and counter attacks. So I think he's a good player, still young, and a good, valuable player for the Premier League.
Okay. We move away from the world of football to the world of politics with L'Action. L'Action for today, the CPDM publication talks of boosting voters registration, secular petitions tax after the Secretary General of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, Jean Kwete, signed a secular letter saying that the election commission, or the body in charge of elections, ELECAM, needs to make sure the electoral register is being managed adequately. What do you make of the outing of Jean Kwete according to L'Action for today?
Well, I think it's PTM very soon elections. They want to get their militants registered before the time, and I'm working on deadlines. So ELECAM, in charge of a particular institute of function, needs to do what we call education. Many people don't vote, and I think it's because they're not well educated. So I think ELECAM has been called upon indirectly to educate the public on the need for them to register and also vote, because their vote actually counts.
Okay, and still in that said paper of L'Action reports on telecommunications. It says Camtel seeks to protect digital infrastructure in Cameroon, making Cameroon stand tall when it comes to the telecommunication sector in the Central African sub-region, and why not the West African sub-region?
I think that's a good move, because CEMAC, Cameroon, head of CEMAC, as well, they must lead by example, and Camtel being one of Cameroon's strongest network to an extent, I think if they are going in for this particular move, they have understood that, okay, for us to meet the vision set by the president, we must step up technological wise and also move with the other growing nations. And there's nowhere you go without good connection, without good visibility, without good internet post to an extent. So I think it is a move which they have been able to study and see this is one of the things which a country needs. They are told they want to grow, and I think if they have their modalities which they have set in place, then work towards it, Cameroon may just have their vision come to pass.
Okay, Reality Plus newspaper of Paul for this morning reports of a kilogram of cocoa that it now sells at 2,520 francs CFA francs. As the paper says, the cocoa farmers have never been this lucky enough when it comes to cocoa cultivation in Cameroon.
Yeah, Larry, they are lucky, but I still wonder and ponder. We sell this cocoa to European
countries,
producers. Why don't we use this same money, or can the government use money to make our own companies out here in Cameroon? We saw one open some few bags of flour out there in Kribi. I expect the government to do the same for cocoa, because we have the cocoa here, but when we export it, the farmers are now happy, but we who are the end consumers end up spending higher, because we have to go and buy chocolate at the shop. It's becoming so expensive. So I think it's time for us to see how we can make our own homemade production and also sponsor it. The president said some years back, let's produce what we will consume, what we will produce. So I think we need to stand into produce our own products here in Cameroon.
Okay, Le Point for today. Le Point newspaper reports on the works of the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha Cortez, as the paper titles that she is actually a razor that is actually cutting across all the thick and tough materials of the country when it comes to project execution that her Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has taken a full engagement of.
Well, Larry, I think after Port Aganji for the I think it's the next house with this lady, because she's always there walking in and out. You see that she gives a name to her ministry, and you see her wanting to make Cameroon to an extent comfortable for most of the civil servants and also the observers. So I think she is living an exemplary ministry, which other ministries should follow and do likewise, because you are not put there to enjoy the AC or the money, but to work for the people, and the people will hold accountable if you do nothing. And today, if she's applauded for what she's doing, it's because the media has seen what she's doing, and others should copy likewise.
Okay, the Sun newspaper from Limbe, the paper of Nobel Waso for today, says appointments and transfers of senior divisional officers. Shuaibu exits FACO after barely 18 months. We are talking of the SDO for FACO, who has been transferred.
Yeah, we're coming at a time when many people are not happy, because he has not been there for a long period of time. I have been doing this issue of settling land dispute and ensuring that people are happy. But I think his exit is coming at a time when the public have not yet gotten all the juice from him, and you could see some people asking, why now, why not somebody else, why the transfer? So I think that's what we mean by a legacy. That's what matters in life. When you live and people want you again, it means you're a good person. But if you are living and they are happy, you need to ask yourself questions. But I think the government actually needs to look into their way of appointing and sending people away, because you can't appoint somebody without him serving a good period of time and you move him from his point of service.
Okay, launching of state budget in the Southwest region. Ministers aim for HAPs on respect of procedure of the public investment budget and the 2024 budget of the year.
Yeah, a good move there, but the question is, how is it implemented? Can they meet up to it? And if yes, okay, because we have seen these cases year in, year out, when they propose budget, they give their plans, but not all are being realized. So I expect them to take a different narrative. We saw the governor some weeks back or during the event giving some guidelines on how we can accomplish it. Okay, that's a guideline. Can it be accomplished? If yes, okay, let's go about it, because we need to see the Southwest region becoming more developed, and will come only by the Southwesterners.
Okay, Eden newspaper of late Chief Zangandumbo for today says at AGM in Limbe, Eden Media Group family takes stock chart way forwards.
Yeah, Eden is the Garden of Eden, as I always call it. I think they are having a good plan for the year 2024, but it all falls back like what I've always been saying. How long is it going to last? Consistency is what keeps something going.
Yeah.
So if they have a vision and they think it needs to work, okay, we wish them all the best, but we need results from them.
Okay, we move over to the Northwest Regional Assembly. University of Bamenda signed historic memorandum of understanding between two institutions.
Yeah, I think they are actually struggling to create their own contacts, like what UB has been doing for the period of years behind. I think going and creating those contacts, making those connections, and sending in those memorandums is another way of branding the institution. Someone can go somewhere and say, okay, I'm from this institution under UBA. So I think it's a good move by the university, and thanks to the Pro Chancellor for doing this great job and to ensure that this young university gets the visibility and partnership we need. Okay,
away from that story, we will be moving over to talk something else this time around with the paper from the UK, that is the Guardian. The Guardian for today says medics urged to report illegal abortion to police in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because reporting issues of abortion.
It's a medics urge not to report illegal abortion to police. I beg your pardon.
Okay, still on that, I still think is something which, can they actually do it? Can they actually report it to the police? Because I don't think someone doing that happily. It may be under duress or under situations. So it is one thing to give a law and one to follow the law. Will the medics actually do it? That is left for them, but I doubt if they will.
For them not to report illegal abortions.
Yeah.
Okay, away from that, let's take you to the next paper for today. We are gradually getting towards the end of the program, and we'll be moving over to something else this time around with the paper from Nigeria, The Nation. The Nation talks of federal government explains how students will access loan. This loan scheme is something that was brought in by the current administration in place, that is the Ahmed Asuwaju Bola Tinubu's administration, who actually says students in Nigeria needs to have loans to assist them in their educational journey as a way in order to encourage education in the said West African nation.
For sure, students are always those that the country looks up to them for creativity, for new innovations, and I think loan is something which every student or most students need depending on what they are studying. So I think if this move is to be accepted and then is to be given, then it's a good move for Nigeria. Remember, they are very populated in Africa and also in the world. So I think they need this loan to see, because they have a talent, they have a skills, but the money is not there. And I think if they are being given this money, they're also being called to responsibility for them to produce and also create employment for their fellow students.
Okay, we come back home to Cameroon with the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post of Christian Gar for this day says at inaugurations of institution Melen Yaoundé office, Central Governor Nasiri Paul Biya says Intericon Credit Union nation's pride.
Yeah, Intericon is actually doing something good, but like I always say, that's what the minister have said.
Governor, okay, the governor of the Central Region.
What the governor, what are the people saying? Because for us to be balanced with together, what the people are saying, are the people okay with it? And if they're okay with it, okay, because their stripes may be good, maybe on behalf of the government, but not on the people. So I think it needs to be balanced for us actually know if actually that is something wonderful. On
the editorial of the Guardian Post for this morning, the paper reports on when hungry Cameroonians smuggle rice to feed neighbors.
Well, Cameroon is known for being hospitable and being charitable. So I think if they are smuggling rice,
hungry Cameroonians,
yes,
smuggle rice to feed neighbors.
Okay, so they are hungry, but they are feeding their neighbors. So maybe they are they care so much about their neighbors, and they think they can manage or they can overcome their own challenges.
Isn't that ironical?
It's ironical, but that's what maybe Cameroonians can do. They can put their life to an extent for their neighbors, some Cameroonians.
Okay, we move over to Repair for today. Repair newspaper for today talks of the execution of the 2024 state budget. It says the major priorities of the government of Cameroon that needs to be executed for 2024 in the 2024 fiscal year.
Yeah, the budget has been proposed. How can it now be established? How can it be realized? Can they bring in, is it realistic? Because it's the one thing to vote a budget, one thing to realize the budget, and one thing to execute the budget. So Cameroon has a lot of things that needs to be put in place within this year and within this short time frame. Can they actually do that? That's left for the government and for the people to handle.
Okay, we'll take our bags and our papers out of the studio with the last publication for today. That is Lepaku newspaper talks of roads control, how gangsters are on some major roads in the town, in the city of Douala.
Yeah, that's something we should have been fighting. Mostly the bus drivers,
highway robbers.
Yes, highway robbers, mostly at night. And the security again are called upon to see what can they do. Can they actually prevent? We know they cannot stop, they cannot prevent most of these attacks. So I think the government will step up security and see how this is being stopped and people are being protected. Okay,
the said paper celebrates the police boss, the inspector. I keep on saying Inspector General of Police. We don't have Inspector General in Cameroon, is in some other countries. So that is the Delegate General for National Security, Martin Baragangele, who the paper says he is actually someone who matches his words with action when it comes to the reform of the Cameroon police.
Yeah, he has been there for a good period, I think over a decade now, and he knows the system very well. But now, can he actually leave a legacy? Remember, I'm talking about legacy here, because what you leave behind for posterity is what is going to be judged by them on your behalf.
Sure.
So I think he needs to see how he can make the police force something enjoyable, something wonderful, and I think he has it because he has an experience and has been for a good period of time.
Joseph Epie, it was a pleasure having you on set.
Thanks so much, Larry.
All right.